The ultimate compliment is to be considered an asset by those who know you. But what exactly does that mean? And how do we get there? I believe that there is a less discussed approach to becoming a person of value, a person who is successful, respected by others, and fulfilled. It's somewhere between the hustle culture and the ease and flow of manifestation. This podcast is designed to be a resource for the ambitious, the relentless, and the rare who are breaking societal norms, going against the grain, and are open to unconventional practices as we study what it takes to be a true asset in every area of life. My hope is that you'll find this podcast unique and like it enough to share it with a friend and maybe even one day join us at one of our in-person events. Enjoy.
Have you ever found your information on the internet? When you Googled yourself, have you ever Googled yourself? Have you ever wondered how, some of your haters might find out information about you? Well, being a first responder and being somebody who's online like myself, I don't take this lightly. I have people who look for my information and they want to know everything there is to know about me. And believe it or not, you might be in that situation right now, or you could in the future. So I want to tell you about a retired Leo-owned company called Officer Privacy, who is sponsoring this podcast episode and has also sponsored my last She's an Asset retreat for female first responders. And the reason I want to tell you about this company is it's a company that I've been using for the last year. I have suggested it to many first responders as well as influencers. And if you are on the internet, you really may want to look into this company. What's great about them is they monitor 70 sites with your information on it. Okay. And I want you to think about like white pages and yellow pages and different sites that will like who's who or whatever. They go and people can Google and try to figure out who you are. Well, they take your information off of that and then they monitor that. And here's the cool thing is they have a referral program. So when you sign up, I think it's like $20 a month for them to monitor your stuff. It's a little bit more on the initial investment because they're going to go and take all of your stuff offline. If you want it that way, they have an option where you can do it yourself. But if you have them monitor all of the sites for you, which is what I do, it's like $20 a month. And then if you refer somebody and they mention your name, you yourself are going to receive 5 months of monitoring for free, which is $100 value. And then the person who mentions your name will get 2 free months of monitoring. So if you're interested, go to the show notes or just go to Officer Privacy on their Instagram. You can go to officerprivacy.com or on their Facebook. Tell them that I sent you. You're obviously going to get your first 2 months for free, but I highly suggest you do this, especially if you're a first responder or going to be one, because people want to know about you. So you are getting ready to go to the police academy and you're not quite sure what to expect. So I'm going to just be honest and tell you, I've been out of the academy for a long time. I graduated in 2012, December of 2012. So things have changed. I went to a paramilitary police academy. It was an 18-week live-in academy. That is not how it is across the country. There's a lot of different academies. I've had a lot of clients attend college-like atmospheres. Some have been extremely hard, and then some have been like college. So I'm just going to kind of give you the basics. Your best bet is really to get to know some people who've gone through your agency's academy, or I guess there's different colleges that you can go through, really try to see if you can find some alumni, a lot of information online, TikTok, find some hashtags of like that academy, YouTube. Things like that's really going to help you to find specifics. I would think, I'm not quite sure, but I'm just going to give you some basics. Okay. First thing you need to know is their plan is going to be to stress you out. Like that is the whole thing, is you are there to get stressed out. So just understand that ahead of time. Don't be a friggin' head case, because it is being done by design and they're trying to see who's going to snap. So if you understand that it's a game, and you understand that they are just doing stress inoculation on purpose to, one, prepare you for the job, because you are going to be stressed the fuck out every day of your life as a fucking cop. And two, they also want to see who can handle it. So you need to develop really good stress handling tools. Breath is going to be, taking deep breaths and learning how to box breathe, and learning how to control your breath, and then how to control your mind is going to be important. Recognizing and understanding that you are going to, you're going to be facing some fears. Like, there's going to be things, if you are not prior military, if you have not been working the road and you are brand new, right, going into this, there's going to be a lot of things that are very unnerving, and it's going to cause you some anxiety. It's going to cause you to be stressed out. Just be prepared for that. A lot of people allow that to overwhelm them, and then they don't cut it, or then they really start doing shitty in every other area and aspect of the academy. So I'm just telling you, like, the first thing is, by and large, at most academies, you're going to get stressed out. If they're not trying to stress you out, then the studies alone could stress you out. You are going to be in for a ton of studying. You have got to know laws, federal laws, and then your state laws. And, you've got to learn a lot of things at a very short amount of time. So you're going to want to have a really good studying routine. You're going to want to know how you learn, and you're going to want to develop a study routine. That's important. Going into your academy with a little bit of knowledge might be very helpful. I did personally, but there's people who, I've coached, and people who I went through the academy with, and people who I know that did not have any kind of education or experience prior to the academy, and they came out fine. But they had these systems in place. Okay. They knew how to study. They knew what their system was for studying and learning. If you have some sort of disability, if you are dyslexic, if you have some sort of learning disability at all, then you want to have that addressed ahead of time, because yes, you got to tough things out to some extent, right? But I've seen really capable people that have a learning disability unable to pass a written test, but they're great in every other aspect. They just really suck at test taking. And then now that they just went through this whole academy, and now they can't get a job as a police officer because of that one test. I mean, I'm just telling you, if you cannot take tests, if you have disabilities, have plans in place. Nobody told me that. I came up, I was at the end of the tough it out era. And I do believe in some of that. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not like the soft approach kind of girl, but I do believe in, being reasonable. And I understand that it's harder for some people to learn sitting in a classroom. I do not learn sitting in a classroom. For me, I worked the road like six months prior to going into the academy. I was on the road all by myself. I went through FTO. I went through all this stuff. So it was, going into the academy was not hard for me, but I understand that's not necessarily the situation for everybody. So I'm trying to prepare you. I learned a lot on the road. There was no taking tests. The test was actually doing it. And my FTO, getting upset with me, or, correcting me, and all of those things. But that was how I learned, and that was a great way for me to learn. Also, I would take a look at different situations like that. Are there possibilities? Are there situations where you could do what I did? I have no idea. Each state is completely different, but Maine, you can work as a green pin. It's a part-time police officer. You can work up to 40 hours a week without going through the full-time academy for, I think it's up to 1 year. After that, then you have to go to the academy if you're working at 40-hour capacity, 40-hour week. Every state's different, but look into that. I think that's another thing that I would just really like to suggest to you is really look into all of the academies in your area, or any academy that you might want to go to. I've had clients Highly successful client. He was born and raised in Chicago, grew up in Chicago, and he was working as like a police officer assistant out there. So he didn't have arresting powers, but he did like all the bitch work of a cop. And he really learned how to do the job and everything, but he decided that's not where he wanted to be a cop. And he got himself a damn good job down in Florida and loved it. And he went through that academy, and that was a quote unquote college like academy because they didn't live there, but that was a really hard academy, and he learned a ton, and he got in a really great shape. And so he did his research as far as like where he wanted to be a police officer. And so I also think that's important, and not talked about, and especially right now, like as a country, we are in such dire need of cops that like you do not need to settle. You don't like when I was coming up through, it was wherever would take you, you went, honestly. Because there was no sign-on bonuses and nobody gave a fuck. They weren't hard up trying to, get cops, but now they are across the country. So you have, opportunities, you have options. Take your time when looking through these options because it's a big deal. Every cop will tell you that, look into absolutely everything. It's the same with the academies. You want to look into these academies, look into the agency that, look into the agencies and look into the academies they're going to send you. You want to go to one that is paramilitary. In my opinion, you want to go to one that is going to bust your balls and that is going to teach you hands-on and educate you and has great training, because I'm telling you, you're going to want that for the road. Like you don't want to skate by on this. And I'm going to just call a spade, which is calling myself out. I'm the queen of bullshitting, meaning in high school would read not a whole book ever. And I could get A's and B's. Like I did well, not having to put a ton of effort in my studies. That lasted up until college, side note. And I did fine through college, but I had one professor who I could not skate through her class, and she fucking gave me a D or a C in her class one year, turned everything around for me. From that point on, I'm like, shit, I gotta really study. And I did, which was good. So I graduated with honors, or I can't remember. I think it was not summa cum laude, but it was magna cum laude, I believe. I think I got summa, which I believe is all A's. That was for my master's, but it's a whole different subject. Anyways, you don't want to do that in the police academy because you need to know all of the shit that they're going to teach you. You need to know it. So all of that is really helpful for preparing you. Now, if you're to the point where you're like, okay, Autumn, that's all great, but I'm going, like I'm committed, I'm going, my start date is like next week. So you want to make sure you have everything on the list. Make sure you have some boots. I would really be walking around and I'd be in those boots 24/7, breaking them in. I saw a lot of people with new boots in the academy, and that sucked because I had tons of blisters. Like I said, had been working in those boots for a while prior to the academy, and that was the best thing ever. I was comfortable all day. You're going to want to bring everything, like I said, that's on that list. A few extra things like we did. I constantly always had I always had chapstick in my pockets. That is vital for me. Do not underestimate that. I also brought a lighter to burn off any stuff on my uniform. And I also, and for it to light and heat up the wax to shine my boots. So a good wax, a really great one is Lincoln wax. But I've used Kiwi, but I like Lincoln. I prefer Lincoln wax. So cotton balls, to shine your stuff. Or another, like my husband, what he'll do is he will get like the cotton baby blanket things, like burp blankets. You can get them at Walmart. It used to be cheap. I don't know if they are anymore, but because they're 100% cotton, so you can use those. Cotton balls are cheaper. It's what I use. Stuff to shine your stuff is important. Even if they're not super, super, super big on it, I'm telling you, appearance is everything, and it's very big. So, starch and a good iron, like if you're paramilitary and you're living there, that's what we did. And that's really fucking important, by the way. What else to tell you about the academy? you know, have your, respect hat on. Sir sandwiches, ma'am sandwiches, sir, yes, sir, ma'am, yes, ma'am, whatever they ask you to do, just do it. Put your fucking cell phone away. Don't even take it out. Mine didn't come out Monday through Friday. My phone did not come out. Yours does not need to come out. Even on breaks and shit, it's a complete distraction. Allow yourself to be completely immersed in this. It's the only time of your life that you are ever going to be completely immersed in a learning environment when it comes to policing. I'm telling you, allow yourself to be fully immersed. It was a really great experience that way. I did not allow myself to get distracted by any bullshit. When it comes to the people, get along. You don't have to like everybody. Get along. It's really important. They're your classmates, they're your teammates. Be a leader. Don't be a follower. Be a leader. If you see someone struggling, help them out. Do the right thing. That's important. I can hear the girls in my head that are going, well, nobody likes me, or I'm the only female. I've seen a lot less only female stuff. We've definitely had a lot more women go through. So while you might be one of two or one of three, I am seeing more women, which is great. Get along with those girls. You're not in competition with them. The culture will want you to get in competition with them, but fight that and don't be. I still talk to all the girls, pretty much all the girls that I went to the academy with. I went with 8. So, I mean, you can get in competition with them. There were times, I'm not saying I'm not perfect. I'm telling you, I learned from myself. Look, I got in competition and created unnecessary drama and all this shit, like normal things, that, young 21, 22-year-old that do, but I'm just giving you advice. Don't do that. On the weekends, I wouldn't be partying it up. I'd be focused. I really would be focused. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, really got to keep your head. Your studies are important. Relationship building is important. Doing what you're told is important. Putting that damn phone away. Focused. Have a good time. Have a great attitude and be a leader. Be a follower to your cadre, your instructors, and then, be a leader when you need to be. Be in full integrity. Don't lie about anything. Absolutely anything. Doesn't matter. Just don't lie. Yeah, I really think that covers it. I have a checklist. I have a checklist right in the link in my, it's right on my website, autumnclifford.com. And then you go click the tab under law enforcement. And then you'll see a bunch of resources. I have it's like a free download. It's a checklist for things that you're going to need for the academy. And we are building a private community for women going into the academy, women that are through the academy on FTO and newly on the job. We're building a community. It'll be very inexpensive, like $20-$30 a month. We'll have a group call every single month, and you're going to have training modules. You'll have trainings and podcasts, private podcasts, and you have all sorts of support, so that you can become, the best officer possible, and you can get through these things and know that, you have a group of women that have been there, that have your back, that are safe. Because one thing that I will say is, we don't want to talk shit about anybody else. Sometimes we are venting and we're like trying to navigate situations and we end up talking crap about other people. And you need to be able to do that in a space it's not going to get back to anybody or anywhere, and it's not going to get you in a bind. So I would say don't be doing that when you're in the academy, right? Be very careful, remain neutral, be very kind to everybody, and respectful, and just be there to do your job. Be there to do your job. And I think that you're gonna do just fine. If you need anything, that I have a Facebook group called She's an Asset. Come on in. You can DM me. I have got coaches that are both full-time law enforcement officers, that we can help you. My coaching staff and we can help you. And yeah, I hope this was helpful. If it was, do me a favor, share this out, or please rate me on iTunes, or do both. I appreciate it. I'll see you next time. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the She's an Asset podcast. If you wouldn't mind, could you please share this out? The only way we grow and I can get this out to as many people as possible is with your help. So we're kind of in this together. And the good thing is I know you have my back. So I want to say thank you and ask for you to share the show. And if we're not hanging out in the socials, I hope that you'll come and hang out with me. I'm Autumn Clifford pretty much everywhere. Thank you so much. See you next time.